The God that dwells in white light 3. But wait, this is not all of it. In speaking to Asclepius he says this: the supreme good, O Asclepius, is not in anything, if not in God alone, rather, the supreme good is always God Himself. If this is so, it is the real nature of all movement and of all generation. Nothing is deprived of this real nature, which has an energy that brings things to rest round itself. It is not in want and has no excess, it is completely full and supplies all needs, it is in the beginning of all things. For in saying that the provider of everything is good, I am saying that it is always good in every way. This supreme good belongs to nothing else but to God alone. For He lacks nothing, He has no desire to possess anything that may render Him evil, nor can anything be lost to Him which would make Him grieve, for grief is the heritage of evil. No being is mightier than God, by whom He could be treated as an enemy, nor is it possible for Him to suffer any injustice by anyone, and therefore He will love everyone. No being is disobedient to Him which would provoke His anger, nor is any being wiser which would provoke His jealousy. Since none of these afflictions belong to being, what is left but the supreme good alone? For just as none of them belong to being, so this good will not be found in any of these afflictions. But all these other afflictions exist in every being, in the small and in the great, in individual creatures and in that living being himself, which is greater and more powerful than all beings and all things. What is born is full of suffering, for birth itself is suffering, and when there is suffering the supreme good is never there, and when this good is there, there is no suffering at all. Where there is day there is no night, where there is night there is no day. Therefore the supreme good cannot be in what is begotten, but only in what is unbegotten. Just as there is provision of everything in the physical world, likewise the supreme good permeates abundantly. In this way the cosmos is good, as it creates all things, it is good with regard to its creative aspect, but in everything else it is not good. For it is subject to suffering and movement and is the producer of beings who are destined to suffer. Within man the supreme good is limited by the measure of evil. For in man just a little evil is counted as good. Good for him is the smallest portion of evil. Therefore for him, good cannot be free from evil. For in man goodness is ill-used, and when it is ill-used goodness no longer remains, and when it does not remain, evil is born. Therefore the supreme good is only in God, or rather God Himself is this good. Thus O Asclepius, there is only the term good for men, never its reality, for that is impossible. The gross body allows no room for it, bound fast everywhere by evil, toils, pains, desires, passions, deceits, foolish opinions. And, Asclepius, the worst of all is that each of these things which have just been mentioned, are in man considered to be the greatest good, whereas in fact each is an unsurpassable evil. Greed, the root of all evil, is the error of man, it is the absence of goodness. And I am thankful to God for putting even a taste of the knowledge of the supreme good into my mind, because this good cannot exist in the world. For the world is the sum total of evil, God the unlimited goodness, or rather goodness, the limitless God. For the excellencies of beautiful things are round his true nature, and appear in some way even more pure and simple, for they are of God. One must have courage to say, Asclepius, that the essence of God, if indeed he has an essence, is beauty, but no beauty and goodness are to be found in the things of the cosmos. For all things which fall under the eye are images and, as it were, paintings. But what does not fall under the eye is chiefly the excellence of beauty and goodness. And just as the eye cannot see God, so it cannot see beauty and goodness. For these are the attributes of God, perfect and complete, belonging to Him alone. They are His very own, inseparable, and most beloved. Either God loves them or they love God. If you can perceive God, you will perceive beauty, goodness, and splendor, illumined by God. That beauty is incomparable and that goodness inimitable, as is God Himself. Thus, in so far as you perceive God, you must perceive beauty and goodness. These are not shared by other living beings, as they are inseparable from God. If you seek after God, you also seek after beauty. There is one way leading to that beauty, devotion with knowledge. Thus the ignorant and those not on the way of devotion dare to speak of a man as beautiful and good. However, man in his dream can by no means see if anything is good, but he takes every evil to himself, believing evil to be good, and thus using it for himself. He becomes insatiable and fearful of being robbed of it. He struggles for everything, not only to have it but to increase it. Such things are good and beautiful to men, Asclepius, and we can neither escape them nor hate them. The worst thing of all is that we have need of these things and we cannot live without them. My hand is extended to you, come and walk the way that I go, for the hope of everlasting life is offered to you. And always remember this, God does not have a religion or group of churchgoers on our planet, but He does have people He used through the years. The only laws He has for you are the natural laws. He knows you can't measure up to perfection and will never hold you to a list of laws. He created you and gave you a mind so you could use it and understand just how glorious He really is. One last thing I have to remind you of. No matter what you do against Him, He will always love you. Remember this, no being is mightier than God, by whom He could be treated as an enemy, nor is it possible for Him to suffer any injustice by anyone, and therefore He will love everyone. No being is disobedient to Him which would provoke His anger, nor is any being wiser which would provoke His jealousy. I hope I was helpful and you kneel on your eye, for the mind of God is truly something to behold.